The clock on my desk ticked past midnight like a heartbeat I couldn't ignore, each second pulling me deeper into the fluorescent-lit tomb of the office. I was the last one here again, fingers flying over keys on a report that refused to end, when the elevator dinged, soft, almost apologetic. But it wasn't the cleaning crew. It was him. Jordan Hale, my boss, the man who owned every room he entered, stepping out like a shadow given form, his eyes finding mine across the empty floor before I could even pretend to look away. In that frozen instant, as he approached with that predatory grace, I knew tonight wouldn't be about deadlines. His gaze stripped away the spreadsheets, the emails, the lies we both told ourselves about overtime. It was hunger, raw and unfiltered, and God help me, I was starving too. I wiped my palms on my slacks, the fabric suddenly too tight, too real against my skin. The office air hummed with the low drone of the HVAC, but it felt thicker now, laced with the faint scent of his cologne, sandalwood, and something sharper, like aged whiskey, as he stopped just inches from my desk. Jordan Hale wasn't just sophisticated. He was a storm in a suit, all sharp angles and controlled power, the kind of man who'd climbed to the top of Hale and Associates by outmaneuvering everyone, including his own doubts. At 38, he carried the weight of boardrooms and backroom deals on those broad shoulders. But here, in the witching hour, that armor cracked just enough for me to glimpse the man beneath. "Alex," he said, his voice a low rumble that vibrated through the desk like bass from a hidden speaker. "No, Mr. Rivera, not this late. Just my name," laced with that Midwestern drawl he'd never quite shaken from his Chicago roots, now polished to a New York edge. He leaned against the partition, arms crossed, tie loosened just enough to reveal the hollow of his throat. "Burning the midnight oil again? Or is it the coffee keeping you up?" I forced a chuckle, but it came out ragged, like I'd swallowed glass. "Deadlines don't sleep, Mr. Hale. Neither do I, apparently." Lie. I'd been lingering since 9, hoping, dreading, this exact moment. It had started innocently enough 3 weeks ago, a casual check-in on the merger pitch, his hand brushing mine as he pointed at a graph. Electricity. Then twice more, excuses piling up like unread emails. Now, every night felt like a ritual, the office emptying out until it was just us, two ghosts haunting the same floor. He didn't laugh. Instead, he circled the desk slowly, his polished loafers silent on the carpet, until he was behind me. I could feel the heat of him, radiating like a furnace against my back. "Call me Jordan," he murmured, close enough that his breath ghosted my ear. "We're past formalities, aren't we?" My heart slammed against my ribs, a traitor broadcasting every frantic beat. Past formalities? That depended on what you called the way his fingers lingered on my shoulder last Tuesday, tracing the seam of my shirt as if mapping territory. Or how I'd caught him watching me during the team meeting yesterday, his blue eyes darkening like storm clouds over the Hudson. I was 25, fresh out of grad school at NYU, a junior analyst scraping by in this glass jungle of ambition. Latino kid from Queens, first in my family to trade bodegas for boardrooms. And him? The golden boy of corporate America, whispers of a corner office at Goldman Sachs before he struck out on his own. Gay? The rumors swirled in hushed tones at happy hours. Nothing confirmed, just enough to make my pulse race. But in a city like this, secrets were currency, and Jordan Hale traded in billions. I swiveled my chair to face him, our knees almost brushing. Up close, the lines around his eyes spoke of sleepless nights that had nothing to do with stocks. "What brings you back, Jordan?" "The pitch is solid." I triple-checked the projections. His smile was a weapon, slow and disarming, revealing teeth too perfect to be anything but veneered. "The pitch can wait. You can't." He picked up a pen from my desk, twirling it between long fingers, fingers I'd imagined elsewhere, in darker hours alone in my Astoria walk-up. "Tell me about you, Alex. Not the resume. The real stuff. What keeps a guy like you here, night after night?" The question hung between us, heavy as the rain pattering against the windows. What kept me? The rent that clawed at my bank account? The dream of proving I belonged in this world that chewed up dreamers like me? Or was it simpler? The magnetic pull of him, drawing me in like gravity I couldn't fight? I swallowed hard, tasting the bitterness of unspoken truths. "Survival," I said finally, my voice steadier than I felt. "And maybe a little hope that one day, it'll feel like more than that." He nodded, as if he'd expected nothing less, and set the pen down with deliberate care. Our eyes locked, and in that sapphire stare, I saw it, the mirror of my own ache. Loneliness in a city of millions, the weight of hiding who you are under starched collars and forced smiles. Jordan Hale, the untouchable exec, was as caged as I was. And tonight, the bars of that cage felt bendable. He straightened, but didn't step back. Hope's a dangerous thing, Alex. It makes fools of us all. His hand hovered near mine on the desk, close enough to bridge the gap with a whisper of skin. I held my breath, the world narrowing to that electric space. Then, like a switch flipped, he pulled away, glancing at his watch. Get some rest. Big presentation tomorrow. I need you sharp. And just like that, he was gone, vanishing into the elevator's maw, leaving me adrift in the silence. My hand trembled as I touched the spot where his had almost been. Hope. Yeah, it was dangerous. But as the city lights flickered beyond the glass, I realized I was already too far gone to care. The next morning dawned gray and relentless, the kind of New York autumn that seeped into your bones like regret. I dragged myself into the office at 7, fueled by black coffee and the ghost of last night's almost touch. The floor buzzed with the usual chaos. Interns fetching lattes, VPs barking into Bluetooths, the relentless clack of keyboards building empires one keystroke at a time. Hale and Associates wasn't just a firm. It was a machine, grinding out mergers and acquisitions for tech giants, with Jordan at the helm, a visionary who'd turned a startup consultancy into a Wall Street darling in under a decade. I nodded at Sarah from accounting, her red curls a beacon in the sea of suits, and sank into my cube. But focus eluded me. Every glance toward the corner office, floor-to-ceiling glass, minimalist decor in blacks and grays, pulled my thoughts back to midnight. To him. By noon, the team meeting loomed, and there he was, striding in like he owned the air itself. Which, in a way, he did. Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan began, his voice commanding the room without effort. Slides projected behind him, charts spiking like heart monitors, projections that promised billions. He was flawless, crisp white shirt, navy tie knotted with precision, that silver at his temples catching the light like frost. But I knew better now. Beneath the polish lurked a man who lingered in empty offices, chasing shadows. My turn came too soon. Alex, walk us through the risk assessment, he said, his eyes flicking to mine with the briefest spark, gone before anyone else could catch it. I stood, palms damp, and launched into the data. Market volatilities, competitor threats, the tightrope of regulatory hurdles. Words flowed, but my mind replayed his breath on my ear, the almost of his hand. A slip, a minor one, fumbling a stat, and the room tensed. Sarah winced sympathetically. Tom from sales smirked. Jordan didn't flinch. Solid work, Alex. The nuance on antitrust is spot on. We'll refine the delivery, but the bones are strong. His praise landed like a lifeline, pulling me from the edge. As the meeting wrapped, he caught my elbow in the hallway. Casual to any observer, seismic to me. My office. 5 minutes. Heart in my throat, I complied. His space was a study in control, abstract art on the walls, a single leather chair facing a desk the size of a small car, city views that screamed power. He closed the door with a soft click, the lock engaging like a promise. You were brilliant, he said, rounding the desk to perch on its edge, legs parted just enough to draw the eye. Nervous. Always, I admitted, hovering near the door like an escape route I didn't want. This place, it's a pressure cooker. He chuckled, low and genuine, the sound warming the sterile air. Tell me about it. Started here at your age, interning for peanuts. Thought I'd wash out week 1. A pause, his gaze softening. But guys like us, we adapt. We survive. Guys like us, I echoed, the words tasting like code. Gay in a straight-laced world, brown skin in a sea of pale privilege, dreamers in a grinder of cynics. The air thickened again, charged. He stood, closing the distance in 2 strides, his hand lifting to brush a stray lock from my forehead. Time fractured. His touch was fire, tentative yet sure, thumb grazing my cheekbone. Jordan, my voice cracked, a plea or a warning, I couldn't tell. Shoo. His forehead rested against mine, breaths mingling, the world outside fading to irrelevance. Then, lips, soft, insistent, claimed mine. It was chaste at first, a question. Then deeper, tongues tangling in a dance of pent-up need. My hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, tasting salt and desire. He groaned into my mouth, a sound that unraveled me. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, reality crashing back. This, we can't, he whispered, even as his arms banded around my waist. Why not? Defiance surged, hot and reckless. Because of the firm? The city? Or because you're scared? His eyes darkened, storm clouds brewing. All of it, and more. A knock shattered the moment. His assistant, oblivious. He stepped back, straightening his tie with shaking hands. Go. Before I do something stupid. I fled, cheeks burning, lips tingling. The rest of the day blurred. Emails, calls, forced smiles. But inside, a revolution brewed. That kiss wasn't just stolen, it was a declaration. And as evening fell, the office emptying once more, I stayed. Not for work. For him. For us. By 10, the floor was ours again. The elevator dinged, and there he was, jacket slung over his shoulder, weariness etching his features. But his eyes, God, those eyes, lit with relief, with want. Alex, he breathed, crossing to me in a rush. No words this time. Just hands, urgent and mapping, pulling me from the chair into the shadowed alcove by the printers. Clothes whispered to the floor in hurried tugs, his shirt unbuttoned to reveal a chest dusted with dark hair, my slacks pooling at my ankles. We moved like we'd rehearsed it in dreams. His mouth on my neck, teeth grazing collarbone, my fingers threading through his hair, anchoring him. Against the wall, bodies aligned, friction building like a fever. He lifted me effortlessly, legs wrapping his waist, and we found rhythm, slow at first, exploratory, then frantic, gasps echoing in the empty space. After, sprawled on the carpet in a tangle of limbs and discarded ties, reality seeped in. His head on my chest, listening to my heartbeat slow. This is madness, he murmured, tracing patterns on my skin. The best kind, I replied, kissing his temple. Vulnerability suited him, stripped of the suit and the facade. We talked then, really talked. His Chicago boyhood, coming out in whispers to a family that pretended not to hear. My queen's upbringing, Abuela's rosaries clashing with my first crush on the soccer captain. Shared scars, forged in silence. But dawn loomed, and with it, consequences. He dressed first, helping me into my shirt with gentle hands. We have to be careful, he said, voice rough. The board. Expectations. And there's Elena. The name hit like ice water. Elena Voss, the socialite on his arm at galas, blonde and beaming in tabloid shots. Fiancé? The word stuck in my throat. I see. Not what you think. He cupped my face, urgent. It's a shield. Business alliance, mostly. But it complicates everything. Jealousy twisted, sharp, and unbidden. Then ended. His laugh was bitter. If only. She's connected, investors, influence. One wrong move, and this firm crumbles. A kiss, fierce and apologetic. Give me time, Alex. Please. I nodded, hating the plea in my chest. Time. In a city that devoured the slow, it felt like a luxury we couldn't afford. But as he left, promising tomorrow, I clung to it. To him. Weeks blurred into a secret symphony, stolen nights at my desk, his visits a ritual of touch and truth. We'd fuck against filing cabinets, slow and savoring on the conference table, whispers of futures we dared not voice. Jordan opened up, his fear of losing control, the isolation of the closet in C-suite heights. I shared my doubts, the imposter syndrome that whispered I was punching above my weight. In those hours, we were equals, lovers unbound by hierarchies. But cracks formed. Sarah noticed my glow, teasing about a mystery guy. Tom shot sidelong glances, envy or suspicion in his leer. And Elena, her shadow loomed larger. Invites to events arrived via email. Join us for the gala? Polite, but pointed. Jordan deflected, but tension coiled in his frame during our nights, a serpent waiting to strike. One evening, as rain lashed the windows like accusations, he arrived disheveled. Ty Askew, eyes haunted. She knows, he said, collapsing into my chair. Not about us. But she suspects. Something. Pushed for a date. I stalled. My stomach knotted. And he pulled me onto his lap, burying his face in my neck. I told her the truth. About me. Not you. God. Not yet. But us. It's over if she talks. Panic flared, but so did resolve. Then let's make it worth the risk. I kissed him, pouring defiance into it, bodies igniting despite the storm. We made love there, on the desk amid scattered papers, his cries muffled against my shoulder. Release came hard, cathartic, but after, doubt lingered. The next day shattered it all. Board meeting, high stakes, a multi-million acquisition hanging by threads. Jordan presented, magnetic as ever, but midway, his phone buzzed. Elena, the screen flashing like a warning. He faltered, a slide skipped, numbers mangled. The room erupted, questions, doubts, a senior partner's icy, pull it together hail. I watched from the back, heart fracturing. After, In his office, he raged, pacing, fists clenched. It's unraveling. All of it. Then, softer. Because of me. Because I can't compartmentalize anymore. Stop. I crossed to him, hands on his chest. This isn't weakness. It's living. He searched my face, desperation raw. What if I drag you down with me? Then we fall together. Bold words, but they anchored us. That night, no desk. We escaped, to my tiny apartment, first time beyond office walls. Astoria's streets welcomed us, neon signs buzzing like fireflies. Inside, amid thrift store furniture and Abuela's old quilt, we explored anew. Lazy mornings in bed, coffee brewed on a hot plate, laughter echoing off peeling paint. But paradise cracked. A week later, Elena struck. An anonymous email to HR. Inappropriate conduct after hours. No names, but details. Desk, midnight, moans through vents. Paranoia gripped. Jordan pulled back, meetings clipped, nights empty. I worked in silence, the office a mausoleum. Desperation peaked on a Friday, firm-wide retreat in the Hamptons. Luxury cabins, team building lies. Elena there, arm linked with Jordan's, her smile ablaze. I drowned in bonfire small talk, but his eyes sought mine across flames, apology, ache. Midnight found me on the beach, waves crashing like unresolved symphonies. Footsteps, him, jacketless, wind-tousled. I ended it, he said, voice breaking. Tonight. Told her everything. Except you. She was furious, but she'll keep quiet. For the firm's sake. Relief flooded, but so did fear. And now? He dropped to one knee in the sand. Not proposal, but surrender. Now we fight. For this. For us. His hand in mine, ringless but real. We kissed under stars, salt on lips from sea and tears. But dawn brought reality. Back to the city, the grind. The scandal broke subtly. A leaked memo, whispers of distraction at the top. Investors pulled, stocks dipped. Jordan shouldered it, but cracks showed. Gray hairs multiplying, sleep evading. I pushed harder at work, proving my worth, but isolation gnawed. Friends questioned my distance. Family called from Queens, sensing shadows. Climax hit during the holiday party. Rockefeller Center's tree glittering outside our venue. Jordan cornered by Elena, public, venomous. You're throwing it all away for what? A phase. Her voice carried, heads turning. He faced her, calm as steel. No phase. Just truth. Then, to the room. And if that costs me, so be it. Silence, stunned. Eyes on us as he found me in the crowd, hand extended. I took it, pulse thundering. No words needed. We were exposed, raw. Fallout was brutal. Resignations demanded. Headlines in the Post. Hale's heartbreak. CEO comes out amid merger mess. But Jordan stood firm, board fracturing but reforming around vision, not facade. Elena faded, a ghost excised. Months later, spring thawed New York's chill. The firm stabilized, stronger for the purge. Jordan and I? No more desks. A loft in Brooklyn, shared mornings with sunlight on skin. He proposed on that same beach, ring simple, platinum band etched with our initials. Every night, he whispered, not just visits. Home. I said yes, tears salting sand. We'd clawed through storms, secrets, scandals, selves, to this. Love unhidden, fierce and free. In America's heart, we'd carved our space, proving that vulnerability wasn't defeat, but the truest power. And in his eyes, finally, I saw forever, not just work, but us.